Hello all, very warm good evening to all of you. So as we have just, we all know why we are here today. We are here today to understand the continuation of the project which we were discussing yesterday. So today the services which we will be dealing is DynamoDB, Lambda, API Gateway. So we'll be integrating these three services with recognition. So in a way you will be understanding how to use lambda functions, how to use API gateway, how to use DynamoDB. Okay, so how to connect these things, along with that how to integrate your recognition service with all these three. Okay, I hope the agenda for today is clear. Right, so the first question which I'm going to ask is, how many of you are ready with trained models? How many of you train your models are ready and are ready? Okay, so we have people who are ready with their models. So just to have a quick introduction of what we did yesterday, what did we do? We tried creating a recognition model. So the recognition model, how does it basically work? So you used a custom labels model yesterday, right? We used a custom labels model yesterday. So there, what did we do? Let me just log in and show you everything. Yeah. So you first collect the data. That is what you are seeing. So you first create the project, then you collect the data, upload all your images. Once you upload the images, what do you do? After uploading the images, what do you do? The first step is uploading all your images. The second step is labeling. How do you do the labeling? First, you have to add the labels. Okay, the all the required labels, whatever are there. First, you have to add those labels, whatever you feel are the classes in your model. Then after that, you will assign these labels which you have added to each image. After you assign the labels, then you go and draw the bounding boxes. After every step, you save your changes which you have made. Later, what do you do? After you are done assigning the labels and drawing the bounding boxes, what do you do? Now you start training your model, right? So once after the model is trained, how do you, like, how does it look? What do you get? You get the model ARN and the model details, right? So what do you do after you get these details? You don't get the API, Suryansh, you get the ARN. And you get the CLI code using which you can start your model, stop your model, or analyze the image whichever you want to predict. Okay. Later you generate the API for it. You actually don't get the API Suryansh directly from the model after training it. Okay. Right. So everybody remembers everything till there, right? How to train the model. After that, we have written a small Python code. Could you understand that Python code, or you want me to explain that again today? Just give you a glance of it today again. What do you say? I want answers from everybody so that we can. Okay. let me explain you the code in the first place. Okay, now this was the code which we were using. I hope it is visible to you. Is it visible, or you want me to? Is it visible, people? Screen, the code lines are visible. Okay, great. So what are you trying to do here? Yeah. So what we are trying to do here? First thing, what you have to do is you have to first, attach your Python code with the recognition service. Yes or no? So whenever you have to use a service from AWS, you use Boto3. Okay. People, I got repeated queries even after yesterday's session asking for how to install Boto3. People, remember, how do you install NumPy, Pandas, or any other library of Python? You go to command prompt or Anaconda prompt or your Jupyter notebook and type the command pip install the module name, right? In the similar way, you do for Boto3 also. You go to command prompt, type pip install. What is that? Boto3. Got my point? So it's as simple as that. If you don't have Boto3, please install it in your machine. It is not installing on AWS cloud or something like that. It is installing in your machine because you have to communicate with the services which are in the cloud. Okay. So I installed Boto3 and I'm importing Boto3 because unless until I import Boto3, I can't use Boto3 and call something else, right? Using Boto3, I am creating a client. Okay, client of what? I'm creating a client for recognition. Okay, so after I create the client for recognition, I have to give the access key, the access key ID, and the session token. The region for all the educate accounts will be US East 1 only. So please don't change this US East 1. You have to change the session token, secret access key, and access key ID. These three things you have to change. Where do you get these three things from? Where do you get these three things from? From the workbench. Great. So what I do, I go to my AWS account where I'm logged in. I go to workbench. Okay. So I want to see the chat also. So let me put the screen. Yeah. So here in the workbench, I go to account details. Okay. And here AWS CLI, click on show credentials and you will have your access key, ID, access key, and the session token. Okay. So copy these three things. I'm just copying the values and paste it in the respective places. Yeah. People, every time these values will be changing, please don't feel they are same. So for every session new values will be generated, so make sure you go and copy paste everything properly without missing anything, and also make sure you are not having any extra spaces or anything in the uh, things which you are copying. Okay. Right. So I have copy pasted the session key, the token, and the key ID. Okay, I've saved my file. Now what do I do? I have to predict, right? So what I do, I just give the image. I am opening the image. Okay, so this is the path in which my image is present. Okay, so I'm giving cat image to it. So I just give the path of that. I'm opening that file in read binary format. Okay, so I'm reading each byte. Okay, and then those bytes I'm storing it in a variable named source underscore bytes. Done, everybody? After this, what I'm trying to do is I am now creating a client for the custom labels, detecting the custom labels. Using what? Using your recognition. Where is your custom label present? It is in the recognition. So using the client object which we have created here, using this object, I am creating, I'm calling the function detect custom labels. Okay. After I use this method, for this method, I am passing the ARN. Okay. Here, what I do, I call the detect custom labels method. Okay. So in this method, what I have to do is, in this method, I'll have lots of custom labels, right? So what I want my model to be called. Okay. So to specify which model out of all the models which you have trained to call, this project version ARN must be specified. Where do you get this ARN from? Where do you get this ARN from? Shahrukh, 1 second. I'll tell you how do you get that also. Okay. Okay. So now what you do is, now you go to your management console, open your recognition service, open your recognition service. You will get list of all the custom label models which you have created. Open the model which you want to use. Before opening the model, what you have to do? Before copying the ARN, what do you have to do? From this place, I go to use custom labels. Okay. So from here, what I do, I click on these 3 lines towards the left. I click on projects. Here I'll get all the list of my projects. So before you copy and paste the ARN and run the Python file, what you have to do is you have to first stat your model. How do you stat your model, everybody? How do you stat your model? Open your command. First of all, everybody has to install the AWS CLI. Okay. After you install the AWS CLI, you have to make sure that you paste the workbench credentials, all these credentials. Okay. You have to paste all these credentials in the credentials file. Where do you get the credentials file? Just open your file explorer, go to C drive, go to users, go to the user in which you're, like the default user, and then there you will find .aws folder. Open that and you will have credentials here. Okay, open with Notepad. So if any previous credentials were there, remove them and paste the new ones. Okay. So for the people who are not able to get the .aws folder, what you will do is open your command prompt. Okay, here just type aws space configure. Okay, and hit on enter. I'm not entering. Okay, but you people, what you do is, if you are not getting the .aws folder in your C drive in the default user, then type in the command prompt, type aws space configure and hit on enter. It will ask you for, okay, let me do it. It will ask you for a few details. Like it is asking me the key ID. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm randomly typing something. It is asking me the access key. I'm giving some random values. Default region. Region is what? East to one. Okay, Jason. Okay, so I've just entered few random values there. Okay, so now if I just go to see, now if you just go to your users, then you will definitely find .aws file in the directory. Open that and open this credentials file. Okay, so you will see that those values got changed now to the values which I gave previously. So I'll just remove all these things and I'll paste the values which are actually original values. Randomly I gave some few things so that I can change it here later. Okay, so this is how you work if you don't get the .aws folder. Somebody asked me that. I don't know who asked me. I don't know. I am not able to get that. Who asked me? Yeah, Shahrukh. Shahrukh has asked me. So please just follow this procedure. If you're still not getting, please get back to me. Okay. Okay. So this is how you get the .aws file and you attach the what do you call the credentials there. After that, what you will do, you will go to your model. Okay. So you will go to your custom model. Here I have few models which are already trained. Okay. So whichever model I want to use, I open that model. Okay. So I just go down, let it load all the details first, and here you will get the ARN for your project. Okay. So copy this ARN. Right. So here is the ARN for your model, and here is the code to start your model. As it is taking a lot of time, what I did is I already copied this code. Okay, pasted in the command prompt here. Okay, removed all the backslashes and started the model before starting the session, so that it will not, I mean, like it will be started by the time we see it. Okay, if you see, the status was started here when I started. Now the model is already running. Okay, so I'll show you the status of the model. Okay, if you see, the model is running already. So you start the model first. After you start the model, what do? You go and copy your ARN. Okay, make sure if you don't start the model, it will throw errors. Okay, so you start the model first before running your Python file. Now I open my Python file. Okay, and I change the ARN with my project ARN. Okay, now I save this file and I'll run this one. Okay, so first what I have to do, I have to go to this particular directory. I've already redirected the directory. Okay, so now what I do here, I type Python space. So the file name is attendance.py. Okay, so this is communicating with the recognition service, and it will give me some output of what that image is. Okay, so as you just check out here, which image. So if you just see tables, the name which it classified is what? Cat. Got it? I gave a cat image and it is classified as, name is not this. Is this the only scope of our project? Do we have to just predict what that particular animal is? What do we have to do? Yeah. So what we have to do is we have to have the count of cat or dog, right? So for that, what I'll do is I'll go and store the count in a database. Okay. So yesterday I gave an introduction about DynamoDB. What is DynamoDB and how it works? DynamoDB is what? It is a SQL or non-SQL database. What is, yeah, DynamoDB is a NoSQL database. That means it is unstructured, right? So let us go and start working with DynamoDB. Okay. So I hope till here there is no problem at all, right? Do you have any problem till here? Anybody who wants me to repeat any? Great. Yes. Okay. So now let us go and create a table first. Okay. So I go to the management console. From there, I mean, like from here also, you can just go to services and search. But I want this page to be open, so I'm not disturbing it. Okay. So I go to tab. Here I search for DynamoDB. Okay. And I click on it. So it will open DynamoDB for us. What we have to do is which will store these counts. Okay. So tell me, how do you think we'll connect Dynamo? Any idea anybody has? Because you have referred with DynamoDB. Any answers? At least say something. You don't have an idea, or you have an idea, or some service name or something. Actually, it is pretty obvious because I told all the services which we are going to use today. So definitely it will be one of them. At least a lame guess you can. Midhun says it is API with an API key. Okay. Oh, my voice is breaking. Is it fine now? Or is it still the same? Madhu says it is Lambda function. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Anyhow, I knew this will happen, so I have actually opened. We use a Lambda function. Okay, so we will use a Lambda function and connect our database not exactly with recognition directly, but we will try pushing your elements from the Lambda function. And Lambda function will be triggered by using an API. And this API is integrated with your uh, what do you call recognition service, custom labels. Is that fine? Did you all get it? Even if you don't understand now, Once we start working with it, you will be very clear. Okay. So first what we'll do is we'll try to create a table, okay, which will be storing the counts. Then we'll try to see how can we add elements from Lambda function into DynamoDB. Then we will try to understand how to hit an API whenever an animal is detected, and dynamically update the count in the database. All clear for everybody? Yeah, cool. So everybody open your DynamoDB. Open your DynamoDB. Okay, so you are all fast. My internet is really very slow. Might be because I'm presenting. I really don't understand. Every day till this time it will work properly, but during the session I face a lot of issues with my internet. Okay. Anyhow, so I just go to tables. On the dashboard, do you find a button named Create Table on top? On the dashboard, do you find a button named Create Table on top? Click on that Create Table. Click on that Create Table. Yes, blue color button. Great. Thank you very much, Harshit. So click on that Create Table button. Once you click on that Create Table button, it will ask you to give the name of your database. Give some name to the database. Some name. So let us say animal counting. Okay. So give some name to your database, animal counting or something. Make sure you remember what name you are giving. Okay. Give some name to your database. Then in the next line, it will also ask you to give the primary key attribute. Is it asking you all to give a primary key attribute? Yes. Give the name of the primary key. Okay. What name? That primary key attribute is what? Okay. So here, what is the primary key which we are going to use? The animal name itself, right? Animal name will act as the primary key for us. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. So what we do is we generally don't give special names to any animals, right? We generalize and say dog, cat. So we will create a primary key attribute named animal. Okay. And what is the type of this particular attribute? Which type of attribute this is? Is it a string attribute or a number or what? It's a string. So select string in the drop down which is next to your primary key attribute. Everybody is able to follow? Yes, for students, roll number will be the primary key. Hence, I request all of you, whenever you are training the model, train your model with roll number. Okay? The labels which you are giving, make it as roll numbers instead of names. Directly you can do. Otherwise, what you have to do, you will have to write multiple if loops. Okay? So, it is better to use roll number as the primary key for students. Yes, you can edit. You will have edit option on top. Just click on it and you try. Once the model is trained, it is, you'll have to train it again anyhow. So, right. So this is the table which I was talking about till now. So it is like I have the voice first and then the visual. It took a lot of time to load. So here I'm just adding the table name to be animal counting. Okay. And then I am adding the primary key to be what? Animal name. Okay. So I'm saying animal. Okay. And then this is the string one. And this add sort key, it's up to you whether you add a sort key or not. What do you mean by sorting key? What is sort? Arranging the elements, right, in ascending, descending order based on how you want to sort. So if you want to add a sort key, you can check that. But I don't want to add any kind of sorting and all in my database because this is just for counting, right? So I simply go down and click on create. Now it will take some more time to create the database. Okay, so yes, you can give. Yes, you can. No issues. But why do you require sorting? That's the first thing, unnecessarily why you want to do it. It's up to you. If you want to give, you can definitely. No issues. Right? So it will take a while to create the database. Now, once the database is created, you will have an overview of the database. Okay, so what are the attributes which are there and all. Okay, so if you see, you have given only the primary key, right? You might ask me, ma'am, you are saying we are going to store the count of the animals, but here I don't find anywhere where is the count. You are just taking the animal name. Then what about the count? How do I get the count there? How do you do it? Okay, so that's the first thing which which should strike your brain. Okay, so this is the overview page. It will have few table details and the stream details. We don't want these things. Click on items. If you click on items, you will get the attributes which are present and the values of those attributes. Okay, so as our table is empty for now, you will have only the attribute that is your primary key, animal. You don't have any other values for this particular attribute, right? So now how do you add items here? You can click on create item and add the items. Okay, but one second, everybody, pause there. Don't click on create item. Do you think every time a cat is or a dog is detected, you will come here, click on create item and add the values? Will you do that? How many of you are ready to do it manually? Nobody, right? We are not interested in manually updating the values, right? We want a system whenever whenever a face is detected, like whenever the animal is detected, it should come and it should update it here, right? So what we have to do is, yeah. So what we have to do is we have to now create a function which will trigger this particular DynamoDB, okay, which should come here and change its functionality, add attributes or do anything you want. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll go and explain you how. Like, okay, let us create. If you want, you can just go and create one item here. I will show to add an item from there also. Okay. So you can just, this is the animal, right? So you can give some value. If you click on plus, you can append values or you can insert whatever you want, you can do. Okay, so these are the operations which you can perform. You can remove, you can insert, or you can append. I'm not doing it from here, but if you want, you can definitely. It is not a big thing, right? It is looking this is a very simple UI where you can just add your values. Do you want me to do this or is it fine? You people can do it. Because I want to show it from the Lambda functions rather. Okay, so that is a bit complicated thing for you, right? So I'll show it from the Lambda functions. Okay, so I just close this. Okay, now let me go to the Lambda function. Let me create the Lambda function and let us see how we have to insert values from the Lambda function to here. Okay, so yeah, so I have to either close this. Okay, let me do one thing. I'll open the table in a new page. Right. So here what I do is I go to services now and I search for Lambda. Okay, I search for Lambda and I click on Lambda. So now the Lambda function will load. It will take a while again, and with my internet it will take more time. So if you are ready with the Lambda functions page, let me know. I'll tell you what to do. Just click on Lambda. It will open your Lambda functions page. Okay. right? Everybody on this page as I am on. Okay, you will not have any functions yet. That's a different story. But this is what you should be able to see. Okay, on this page, click on create function. On the top, you have a yellow color button called create function. Click on create function. Now, if you see, you have few options here. Author from scratch, use a blueprint, browse serverless app repository. Okay, so what do you mean by these? First one is you code everything from scratch, write whatever you want. Okay. Second one is you have a sample code. Okay. So related codes, if you have, you can just go choose them and you can use them. Browse serverless app repositories. There is a repository of few codes, so you can go and deploy those Lambda applications. Okay. I am going to write the code from scratch. Okay. So I am selecting the option author from scratch. I give a name to my Lambda function. Okay. So I'll say it as animal count updation. Okay. And you have to choose the runtime. Okay. What is the runtime on which you are going to work? If you just click on this, you will find many runtimes. Okay. So I am going to work with Python 3.7. I'm going to work with Python 3.7 runtime. Okay. And then I click on create function. Then I click on create function. Everybody done till here along with me? Yes. Actually, I should be lagging, not you, definitely. So once you click on create function, it will take a while and it will launch you onto editor. How many of you are on the editor page? Yeah. So on the editor page, okay, so you will find a default code. Are you all able to see the default code which is present in the particular editor section? Okay, so for some miracle reason, my page is also loaded. In few more seconds, I'll be able to see the code. Anyhow, so if you see there is few lines of code which contains a function, Python function, def lambda handler, right? Did you see def space lambda handler function is there? A function which is taking two arguments. One is event, the other one is context. Oh, right, I'm right. Okay, so it is taking, there is a function named lambda handler here. So whenever the lambda function is triggered, this function is being called. Okay, so this is the function which is going to get called whenever your lambda function is triggered. The default function which is going to get called. This takes two arguments. One is event, the other one is context. Event is the test, I mean like the values which you are giving it. Okay, the values which you are sending it. Okay, context is it maintains the logs. Okay, so we are not actually going to use the context. It is only you will use context when you want to know what was the problem which occurred. But for now I'll be using event mostly. Okay, so here what we are trying to do is in this simple function, there is nothing which we are doing here. There is a small line of code which returns status code to be 200 and body as hello lambda, hello from lambda. Okay, so this is a simple code which it is returning. Okay, so now how do I run this? How do I see what is it giving? How do I see the output of this? How do you see the output of this? Yes, save the code. Okay, if you have edited anything, we did not edit anything, but still I have, make it as a practice to save after you write anything. Save the code and click on test. Okay, if you click on test, what is it doing? It is asking you for some details. Divyanshi, just give me some more time. I am still explaining the basics of Lambda function. I'll tell you how to write the codes also. Please just be patient for a few more minutes. Right. So when I click on test, what is it asking me? It is giving me some page. Okay, we are redirected to one page. I think it is required. What is it? Can anybody? I mean, like, what did you get? What did you understand from this? Anybody? Any answers? Are you typing or what is happening? Okay, fine. I don't think I'll test cases. Yes. Why do you require test cases? Now see, what did I tell you? Event is having what? Whatever value you are triggering, those values event will have. Yes or no? You have to send some value to Lambda function. So those values will be stored in event. That is what I told you. You every time whenever you have to check while you are writing the code, you can't go to that particular service from where you want to trigger, and you can't initiate that service and then you can't check here, right? So while you are developing the code to check whether the function is working properly and you are getting the desired output or not, what you will do is you will design a small test case. Okay. So whenever you want to test, you can test with this test case. Understanding everybody? So here in this particular hello lambda function, do I require any event to happen? Like, do I require to pass any value? Is it taking any value there? No, right? So simply what I do, I remove all the values which are there in this particular JSON. I just open and close the curly braces and I click on create. Okay, sorry, I forgot to give the name. I am giving the name to be sample. And I click on create. Okay. I am creating an empty test case because I don't have to send it any value. Yes or no? Now, after I give the test case, now I test. It will by default take the test case which was created and now it will give me some output. Let us see what is the output it is giving me. If you see in the execution result below the editor section, you will have the responses. Okay. So what is it giving the response as? It is giving the response as the JSON. Here, what I am returning? I am returning the JSON. That response it is giving me. Got it, everybody? Ma'am, I don't want all this. I just want to return hello world. Can I do that? Yes, definitely you can do it. I just remove all this code which is present here. I remove all the code which is present here. And I type hello people. Okay. This I type. I told you what's the first step you have to do. Always save the code. Please. I myself made mistakes, lost a lot of times. Without saving the code I tested, I get the previous result and I worry why is the output not getting changed. So please don't forget to save the code every time. Save it. After it gets saved, click on test. Now if you see what is the response? Response is hello people. Got it? Got it, everybody? Yeah. So isn't it cool? It is not very tough, right? At least till now, it is not very tough. Yeah. So now what we'll do is, we'll try to, insert values into what? Into DynamoDB, right? Yes or no? Let us try to go and insert value into DynamoDB. So what I do is, I have to import what? First I have to import Boto3. As I told you, whenever you have to communicate with any AWS service, what you use Boto3. I import Boto3. Then what do I do? What do I have to do? I have to create the instance of it, right? Yes or no? So, which instance you are trying to create? DynamoDB instance. So I say, I am just making use of a name for it. So I am making the use of name Dynamo only equal to, what is it? Boto3. Boto 3 dot. What is it? Client or resource? We are creating a resource of what? Of DynamoDB. Okay. Once after you create the resource of DynamoDB, you have to access the table from the DynamoDB. Yes or no? You have to access the table. So what I write is, I write table equal to, I use the DynamoDB reference which we just created, Dynamo dot, I want the table, okay, and I give the name of the table. I forgot the name. What is the name of the table? Annual counting. So here I go and write all small, annual counting, right? This is what you do. Understood till here, everybody? Everybody understood till here? Yeah, good. So after we are done till then, what we have to do is we have to put item. Yes or no? We have to go and add the item into the database, right? So what I do is I just hit an enter and here I type, what is it? Table dot put underscore item of what I have to put? The event, right? Whatever event is generated here, the event whichever I'm generating here, that event I have to go and put it in the uh, database. So the thing is item. You have to write the item equal to, sorry, there is no. Okay, so you write put item equal to event. That is the argument. Item is the argument which you are giving, argument name, and event is the value which you want to put. Okay, so whenever the item is inserted, I am just returning successful insertion. Okay. Okay, I'll just say successful. Okay. So this is what I'm saying. Done? Done till here, understood? Anybody, any problem? Yeah. So now what I'll do is I'll save this. Okay. So in the event, now I don't want the test event to be empty, right? Do I want the test event to be empty? I want some values to be sent to the database. What are those values? First one is the animal name. What is the animal name? Let us say I'll send the dog in the first place. And then the count to be, now initially we did not recognize anything, so I'll make the count to be 0. Okay, I go down and I click on save. Right, I've created a sample event which is sending the animal and count to the DynamoDB. Let us say animal is in small case only. Okay, done till here. Now shall we try testing our code? Shall we try testing our code? How many of you say this will run successfully without any errors? All of you able to hear my voice? Hello. Yeah, so I got one response. It means that my voice is audible. Okay. Thank you very much. People, please keep responding because I should actually understand whether you are able to hear my voice or not, right? So please respond. So after you write this, now let us try to test the event. Okay. When I click on test, let us see what is happening. What is the output which we got? What is the output which we got? Oh, okay. Anyhow, keeping this aside, what is the output we are getting? You people tell me, why are we getting an error? I know you that will generate an error. That's the reason I was asking you why I mean, like, what did we delay? I know that will generate an error. That's the reason I asked you why are I mean, like, what will be the output? How many of you think this will execute perfectly? You want me to show the test event? Okay. Okay. So here is the test case. Tell me what's the error? Yeah. Okay. My screen isn't visible. Okay. 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 1 second. 1 second. Let me just check that out. Is it visible now? Not yet. 1 second. Let me share again. Now is it visible? Now is it fine? Okay. Cool. So now tell me, what is the error? People, the first thing which you have to remember is DynamoDB is not in this font. Okay, sorry, not of this type. You have to make it as all small. The resource name is all small. Okay. So this is the first mistake which everybody does in the initial stages, writing DynamoDB with capitals. Okay. So now save it and test it. Okay. Now tell me what is the expected output? What are you expecting? Whether it will give an error or it will give you the response? Tell me, how many of you feel this will now work perfectly? No answers again. Am I audible? Error. Okay, so what error you will get? If you are getting, what is the error you are getting? You will get. Okay, let us try to test and let us see whether you are getting an error or you are getting the output properly. What are we getting? Again error. Why are we getting error? Put item. Oh, is it? Okay. So you have to come out of the, what do you call, the impression that just because put item is written here, this is a put item error. Just because timeout is written there, that's a timeout error. No. Okay. This is not a put item error. It is access denied error. Okay. It is not, your Lambda function is not given access to DynamoDB. Understanding? You are creating a resource here. But see, it's like you have a key. Okay. You have a key in your hand. Now you go to any house and go and open that key. Do you do that? Will that particular house will open if you just go randomly and open some lock? Will it open? Why? The key which is specified for a given lock, only that key should be used to open the house. So your key will open only your house lock, not any other lock, right? In the similar way, Lambda function initially is not given access to use DynamoDB. You have to give access to it externally. How do you do that? Go to, okay, again, the same problem. Okay, let me use this page then. Open, just go to your services and open IAM. Open IAM. Okay. So for all the people who are asking me to create, users, about creating users and all, I'm telling you again, people, you can't create users in Educate account. Okay. But remember, while you are creating any service, if I don't know whether you observed or not, it is creating a role. Did you all observe any time? It is creating a role. Okay. Let me show you for this itself. I'll go back to functions. Okay. So, okay. Okay. So if you see, did you see there is a role? Whenever you are working on something, it is assigned a special role. Okay. It will be assigned a role from the backend. And using this role, you can give it permissions. Understanding? Now I have opened IAM. What is the role name? Did you observe? How can you uniquely understand this role name from all the possible roles? Role name is your function name followed by some unique identity. Yes or no? Whichever function you are working currently. My function name was what? Animal count updation. And here my role name is animal count updation hyphen and some unique name. Right? So I go to IAM management key. Here if you see you have users, roles and all. You are not permitted to create users. Even if you try creating, it will give you an error. So please don't try creating users. I told you, if you want the credentials of a user, you can go to Workbench and access those credentials. Now, what we want to change? We want to change the permissions for role. I click on roles. I click on roles. Now here, if you just go down, you have many roles here. Yes, you have many roles here. What you have to do is, you have to select the role with which you are working, with which you have created the Lambda function. What was the role which we were working on? Animal count updation role. Yes or no? Click on this. Click on that particular role. Now it will give you all the permissions which it has. Which permission it has? It has only basic execution role permission. Okay, so it is not having DynamoDB access. Now I click on attach policies. I click on attach policies. And from here I search for DynamoDB. I click on DynamoDB. I mean, like I search for DynamoDB. In a while, it will give me all the list of what do you call those policies, that is permissions for DynamoDB. Are you getting my point? Are you all with me? Do you want me to repeat or is it fine? Right. So if you see, you got all the list of policies which are related to DynamoDB. Got it? Which policy you want to attach from here? I will attach full access. Okay. You don't want only the write access or read or only execution access or something like that. You want all the access which are possible with DynamoDB, right? So I select the DynamoDB, attach, I select the full access permission and I click on attach policy. Okay. Now, if you want some user, some particular Lambda function to only read it, you don't want it to write any changes, write anything to the database, then what do? You just give it read only access. You don't give it the full access or write access or execution access, anything. Got my point, everybody? As I want to edit the database, read the database, and manipulate the database, I'm using database full access. Ready? I clicked on attach policy. So in a while, this policy will be attached to your particular role. Which role you are working on? Animal count updation role. Okay. So once right. So, I don't think you will get to this for this long. Okay, your process will be a bit faster. So, if your policy is attached, you can just go back to your Lambda function, okay, configurations, and then you can just click on test and try testing it, whether it is working or not. Okay, Harshit, did you test? Did you test the Lambda function now? Is it giving you the success message in the response as a response? Okay. Okay, so I'll show you the test case once again. You can just check that out. Okay. Just click on test, the drop down which is next to text, test, and then click on configure events. Okay. So here, what is this? Okay. Okay, so this is the code which I wrote. I'm just trying to generate a sample event which says animal is dog and the count is 0. A simple JSON code. And then click on save. How many of you could test it successfully? Did you all get the success message? You got the success message. So once you get the success message, now go to DynamoDB. Now go to DynamoDB, refresh the DynamoDB page and check whether you got one entry as dog and a new column called count got created and 0 got added under that. Okay, so my session has expired. I have to log in again. So that's the reason it took a lot of time. People, make sure you check with your session regularly. So if it gets expired, you have to reload it again and do the steps again. So yeah, if the session is expired, please just open it again. Okay. So I have to log out and log in again. People, every time the session expires, what you have to do again, change the credentials. Please don't forget changing the credentials in your local computer .aws file. Okay. Please don't forget to do that. If you forget to do that, your program will not run. It will give errors. Okay. And the errors you saw now, right? The error, you got the timeout error, but the error was with DynamoDB name. So it's like that. So you have to be very careful. Okay. People, for a second, I'll stop the sharing so that I'll be able to access my internet with a good. Okay. People from the workbench, most of you will be able to open the AWS console if the session expires. But in my case, at times I'm not able to open directly from the workbench. So what I do is, if that is not happening, in that cases, I uh, just log out of the entire account and then I open it again. Okay. Yes, Ayush, don't worry, I'll explain it again. Just a second. Okay. So just let me launch this and then I'll explain you everything. I hope I'm not going fast, right, people? You are able to be in my pace, or is it going very fast? If it is fast, please let me know so that I'll slow down a bit. So I'm directly coming to the access granting part, people. Just open, search under services, search for IAM. Okay, search for IAM. Open IAM. There, towards your left side, you will find users, and you'll have multiple options. Select option which is named roles. Select the option which is named roles. Click on roles. Now you will have list of all the roles which are possible. Okay. Select the role which you want to edit. In my case, I mean, like generally Lambda function name hyphen role hyphen some unique number will be there. That is how your Lambda function roles will get created. So name of the Lambda function hyphen role hyphen some unique number. Okay. So just select that particular role. You will find only the basic execution role being attached to the Lambda function. On top, you will find a button which is named Attach Policy. Click on Attach Policy. Once you click on Attach Policy, you will get a page where you can search for the policies. Search with Dynamo keyword there. It will give you all the entries of DynamoDB. Select AWS DynamoDB full access policy and click on attach policy. Is that clear? Do you want me to repeat it? I'll stop the sharing for a minute so that I can load this page a bit faster. everybody could get that? I mean, like everybody, can you attach the policies? Everybody's policy got attached at least. Please respond me with a yes or no. Anybody facing issue, please let me know. Okay, let me open all the services required so that we can work with easily. So we are left with just few more steps, around 15 to 20 minutes only. So please do concentrate. Okay. So everybody attached it, right? Any no's? Anybody who want to say a no? But just stopping because most of them are saying yes. If you are done adding the policy, what you have to do is now go to your Lambda function and now try testing it and let me know whether you got the success message or not. If you get the success message, please just go to your DynamoDB, refresh the page, and see whether you got the row created, dog and zero. You should get the values. What is the even error you are getting, Harshit? Please let me know the error so that I can help you out with it. If it is task timeout, just check whether you have changed the name to all small in DynamoDB and saved it later. If you don't save the code, then it will take the old code only. So please just save the code once and try. If it is still not working, let me know. I hope you are on the screen. So I go to roles, okay, and I select. I mean, like I'm telling you the process again for the people who couldn't follow the speech version of attaching the policy. I'm showing you again the visual version. Okay, so here just search for the role named animal count updation role. Okay, so here on top you will get an attached policy button once this page loads completely. Here on top you will get an attached policy. Click on attach policy. Yeah, so my role got added actually attached. But if your role is not yet attached, you can click on attach policy. Here, search for Dynamo. Okay, so you will get list of all the possible roles, policies. There you just select full access, DynamoDB full access. Is that fine, everybody? Shall I proceed? So I will now go to my Lambda function. Okay. So here I have my code written. Now this will load until I get the next session timeout might be. I don't know. Okay. So I hope you all got the, what do you call, the success message, right? If you get the success message, just go to DynamoDB, refresh DynamoDB and see whether you got the dog and the count to be 0. If you see people, did you create the column named count there? Did you create the column named count? Did you ever create a column named count? No. But whenever it got a new column, new attribute, what did it do? It went and added that particular attribute as a new column there. Did you get it? That's the reason it is dynamic in nature and it is unstructured. Got my point? If it used to be a structured table, it will have a fixed shape. That is, if it is having 2 columns, it will have only 2 attributes, not more than that. Right? This is DynamoDB NoSQL unstructured database. Hence, you can add the attributes even later. Got my point, everybody? Okay, I'll stop sharing again and see whether it's still. Okay. So now once you are done till there, now you have added what? You have added a dog entry, right? In the similar way, add the cat entry also. Now go configure the test cases. In the test case, make it as cat, animal colon cat, and then make the count to be 0 there. And let me know if you could add the next row into the database. Done, everybody? Did you all configure the test case? The second test case for cat, for adding the cat. Did you get the second row which got added into your DynamoDB? Yes, Harshit. 1 second. It has to first load, right? So I'm waiting. So anyhow, I'll give the code in the chat by then, so that you can at least write. You just have to write this particular code. Check whether you, I mean, like if you have missed a comma there, might be that is also an issue. So please just check. This is the code which you have to put in the test case. I have given the code in the chat box. Please just am I audible now? Hello. Yeah, cool. So I've given the code in the chat box for Harshit. He was asking me the uh, test case, right? So I've just given that code. Nothing much I spoke. I'm just waiting for this to open. Yes, I got it. So yeah, initially the count is 0, right? So I entered the count to be 0 for each class initially. Okay. So now I just run this test case. Let us see what is the output we are going to get. Okay, so it is successful. Let me just configure the other test case also. I'll add both and show you the output. Okay, so I change the animal name to be cat now. And now I test. Okay, so both got added. Let us go to DynamoDB. This is the one. I go to items and I have added two attributes, cat and dog, with count 0. Okay, so now what you want to happen? Do you want just to add items like this? Do you want to add 0, 1 normally like this from Lambda function? What's the use of using Lambda function in that case, right? This is not what we want. Whenever cat is detected, you want this Lambda function to trigger and you want Hello all. So am I audible now to all of you? My screen is visible and audible properly. I'm sorry. I'm extremely sorry for the interruption from my end. Anyhow, so we don't want to manually add, uh, data like this, right? What do we want to do? We actually want to fetch the count from the database first, take the count, add one to it, and then put that back into the database. Yes or no? Yes or no? Do I have to add 1, 2, 3 like that into the database, or I have to take the existing count, add 1 to it, and then add it back to the database, right? So for that, what I do is I have to get the item from the database. How do I get the item from the database? I type, like what I have to write is, I'm just taking the response equal to, yeah, how do I get the existing one? Response equal to from the table. So I take the table instance, I am getting the item get underscore item, okay, which item I want, which key I want to use. The key name is animal. What is the DynamoDB? What is my key name? Okay, let me just check the. Okay, so animal, small animal. Okay, so I'm trying to take the animal as the key. Okay, I'm taking the animal as key, and what is the value I'm giving it? What is the value? Which is in the test case, right? Which is present in the test case. Yes or no? The value which you want to assign here, right? So I write event here. The values for now. I'm just trying to show you the output. I just print it, and I'll show you the response what we are getting from the DynamoDB. Understand? Okay, you understood? We are taking the table reference. We are doing get item. Okay, so we are getting the item from the table. How we are getting? We are taking the key as a reference. Which key we are using? We are using the animal as the key, and the value for that animal is, which is, okay, my screen is not visible. Now is it visible? Hello. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I just save this, okay, and I'll test. Okay. In the test case, I have to configure. Sorry. Okay, let this happen. I am modifying the test case. Okay, I am modifying the test case with only animal name. Okay, so I don't want to take the count now, right? Count is what I'm going to get that from the database. So I'm just making it as animal name, and then I just save this one, right? Now, now I just save this code which I have written just now, and I test it. and we'll see. Okay, 1 second. We people, we are you all able to see my screen in the first place? Am I audible? Yeah. Okay. Now I'm able to get the responses also quickly. So we have written event, but event is in the JSON format, right? So what we have to write is we have to specify the value which we have to extract from that particular event. Okay. So which value I want from that particular event? I want animal. So I just take out the animal from there. I now test it. So that was the error. It was saying it is not having the JSON format in the table. Okay. So I just changed it to event of animal. This did it get saved? I have to close this one also, right? Please check with the brackets. Don't do like me, opening, forgetting to close. Don't do such things. Save everything properly. And once the code has been saved, then test with it. And let me know if you're getting the output. Did you all get the output now? Everybody got the output? Now if you see, if you just see on the screen, you got success message, but what I want to know what is the response which the table is giving, right? Yes or no? You want to know the response which the table is giving. Where do you get the response? The response here is returning as successful only. Then where do I get this print statement? Understand, people, response is something which you are returning, and under the logs all your print statements will be present, and this is the value which it is giving you. Okay, I don't want all these things. What I want only the count value. Yes or no? I want the count value, right? Yes or no? How do you extract this count value? Tell me. Everybody write down and tell me how do you extract the count value? After you got success, please write how, please tell me how do you extract this count from the entire dictionary which you are getting. Table dot get item. Okay. No, see get item. Okay. Anyhow, give a try. You have your own systems. Just give a try and let me know whether you're getting it or not. What do you have to do? Anybody? Rest of count. Do you think it will work? Okay, somebody is saying rest of item of count. Okay. How many could get the output like that? What the output? Did you test it and try? I'm trying all your responses. Are you able to see the screen? What is the output you are getting? Tell me, how do you extract count? It's very simple, Python people. How many of you here are versed with Python? From a dictionary extracting a value, how do you do that? Dictionary of key. Okay. And that's what. From the code which you are getting now, how do you get the count? The code is very simple. It is RESP of item, and inside that you have code. Sorry, count, right? So just this. Okay. If you run this, you will get the output. Okay. So if you see, I got successful message. And in the print statement, I've given it, right? So what is the output which I'm getting? I'm getting 0. What happened? My screen isn't visible. Okay. Now is it fine? Even now. Yeah, cool. Right? So if you see now, if you see, if you just write the line of code from count, from item, I'm retrieving the count. What is the output which I'm getting? 0. It send the code on chat also, so you can just check with that. Right? Now once you have received the count, what I want to do is I want to update this count, right? Whichever I'm getting. So I take a new variable, I name it as this value, whatever I'm receiving in that count. Then I update the count. Okay, I update the count with one value. I say count equal to count plus 1. Now what I have to do? I have to push the event whichever I'm generating, that is the animal name whichever is coming from the test case, that and this count into the database, right? So what I'll do is I'll create an input, okay, dictionary. Here I say the key to be first key is animal, and the value is what? Event of animal. Okay. And then the second key is what? It is count. And the event is what? This local variable count. Done, everybody? Did you get it? Am I audible? My screen is visible. All of you here? Yes, cool. So, yeah. So this is how you have to write. After that, what you are doing? You are trying to insert into the table. So I'm removing the comment. I'm saying table dot put item. What I want, what item I have to put now? Which item I have to put into the database? Which item do I have to put into the database? INP. So I say item equal to INP. Okay. Now let us see if it is working or not. I'll save this. I'll save this. And I'll run it. I'll test it. Okay. So it says successful. I'll go to DynamoDB. I'll open the database and I'll check whether the value got updated or not. Just refresh this. All of you got it? Did the value got updated in the database? Did you get that inserted? Did you get the value inserted in the database? How many of you got it? Did you see? My second test case was cat, so this cat count got incremented. Got my point? So with this, what did we do till now? We created a lambda function which will take the animal name, get the existing count from the database, and update the count. Okay. Now, how will you give this animal name to lambda function? Okay. It should come from where? It should come from recognition service. Yes or no? So for that reason, what we'll do is we'll have to hit an API. Key error in printing count. What is the code you wrote? Just check with the code. Let me do one thing. I'll copy this and give it to you. So make sure your what is this lambda function is having this particular code. I've shared it on chat. Just check with that. Okay. Harshit, at times if the internet is also not, if the internet is not proper, the savings and all does not happen properly. Even then you get the error. Just check with your internet also once. Okay. Now that we have created the lambda function to update the DynamoDB, we'll go and try to create an API, okay, which will receive the output from the recognition service and send that particular animal name to the function. Done everybody till here? Shall we proceed for this with API gateway? Creating the API and hitting. Everybody. Some answer yes or no so that we can start. Okay. So go back to your management console, search for the service named API gateway. Okay. Open API gateway, search for service API gateway and open API gateway. Open the API gateway. Once you open the API gateway, Do you have a option to create the API there? Are you able to see an option to create the API? Yes. Click on create API. Make the API to be REST API. Okay, not the private one, the first REST API which you are getting. Okay, you will have, I think that's the third option if my memory is not wrong. REST API, not the one which is having private in the brackets. We are trying to integrate it with recognition service. Your what is this? Your model which is local, right? So we are not having any HTTP as such. Okay, so there is no HTTP request which we are going to make. So we are using the REST API. Click on REST API. Select the REST API. I'll stop the screen share and then after this load, I'll share it again because it is taking a lot of time. Click on create API. Once you click on create API, it will ask you for the API type. Select REST API, not the one which is having private in the brackets, just the REST API one. Okay. So the next options I'll let you know. It will actually land you onto a page where you'll have multiple yeah, import or build. Okay, just give me a second, I'll tell you. Let this page also load so that I'll be along with you because the next steps anyhow you have to see and do only. Yeah, so I'm done. You're able to see my screen? Oh, it loaded till now again it is. Yeah, great. I don't know, once I share the screen, that is going. It was loaded till now, but again, okay, fine. Let's give it a minute more. Okay, so here I click on create API. Okay, so now it is asking me which type of API you want. So I want the REST API. So I click on REST API. I'll build the REST API. Okay, now it will launch me onto a page where it will give me a few options of saying whether I have to integrate it with a HTTP request or a Lambda function or what. So we have to select an option there. Okay. So we are trying to do what? We are trying to integrate it with the Lambda function, right? So we don't want the HTTP or any other thing. We want to integrate it with the Lambda function. So I hope you are getting the radio buttons. Around 5 or 6 radio buttons you'll get, 6 or 7 I think. Are you getting the radio buttons? There. You will have API, Lambda radio button checked already. So keep it as it is. Okay. If you scroll down a bit, it will ask you to give the function name, the Lambda function name which you want to attach it with the API gateway. Is it asking you that? A small text box asking you to give the Lambda function name. 1 second. Okay, nothing like that. Okay, so on this page you are all on. Okay, so here it is asking me, I'm creating a REST API, so you can either create a new one, clone from the existing one, or the other options. Okay, so this is a third party service Swagger, so from there also you can get the API. But I'm creating a new API. I'm naming the API as animal counting only. So I'll use a common name for everything. So animal counting. Description is not mandatory, so I leave it. But the endpoint, make sure it is regional only. Okay, so don't choose any other option. It is regional only, and click on Create API. Okay, once you click on Create API, now it will ask you to. Okay, let this get created first. Make sure you select New API. Give a name to the API. Okay, so don't change the endpoint type. Make it regional only, and then click on Create API. Okay. After you click on Create API, in a while it gets created and the next options will appear. What is the next option which you are able to see? So it will ask you for methods and actions. So for that, let me just let me give you my screen only, because you have to understand all the possible methods, actions, resources, and all. So let me check that out. Okay, if anybody of you can share your screen, you can do that also, so that I can quickly finish this off, wrap this off. This is around 5 minutes of work. So if anybody who is ready to share your screen can please share your screen. I'll explain from there, as I don't think my internet is supporting. Anybody who's ready to share their screen for a while? Yeah, Vikhyat, you can, if you can, please. Right. So just click on actions there. Click on actions there. People, now you have to understand. Okay. So if you see, there is a slash. Okay. So there is a slash there, right? Just below the resources, there is a small slash, and then you have this actions button. What do you mean by slash generally? What do you mean by slash generally? It is representing the home page, right? So it is a root. Yes, it is a root. So if you want to add the actions on the root URL, or you have any other, it's like, now if you take our smart interns page, if you want to add a method or an action on smart interns homepage, that is smartinterns.com, or you want to go inside smartinterns.com/buildathon, and there you want to add a method. Are you getting my point? Did you get what I mean? Yes. So this resource, if you want to create a new resource, you don't want it to be under slash, you want it to go inside and do it for some other page, then you can click on create a resource and you can add. But for now, what we are doing is we are going to add a method. I don't, our thing is very simple. My thing is very simple. I want to add a method on the root page itself, because I have to take the name and send it to Lambda. That's it, right? I'm not using this API for any other purpose. So I click on create method. I click on create method. Click on create method, Vikyat. Now, once you click on create method, you got a small drop down there. Did you see that? You got a small drop down there. Just click on that drop down. Under the root, you got a drop down. Under the root, you got a drop down. Just check with that. Just go to the drop down, click on the drop down, you will get some options. Get, put, delete. We can just click on the drop down. Under the slash, you have a white color box having an arrow mark with a cross next to it. Just click on the drop down. Yes. Under that, you will find get, put, delete. Okay. Methods, post. All these methods you will get. Did you all get it? Select get there. Select the get method. Select the get method and click on the tick mark which is just next to it. Tick mark just next to it. Okay. Now, why did we select get when there are so many options? You know all these HTTP, how this is request and response happen. Through get, how it will happen. Through post, how will it happen? All these things. Do you have an idea? Yes. So what will get do? You tell me. What will get do? What will get do? See, we have few. I'll not explain all the methods. You have few methods. Okay. So the methods are get, put, post. Okay. Like that, you have many methods. Okay. Delete and all. Get will do what is, it will send the information from the URL through the URL. Okay. I'll tell you how it will send and all. If you go to post, it will send through the body information. Okay. So that along with the data, it will send in the form of a packet. If you use put or these things will update the values. Okay. You will have head options. So these are different HTTP methods which are present. Once you click on get, it is asking you to set up this particular thing with which you want to integrate this particular method. I am planning to integrate this method with Lambda function. Okay. So I select the Lambda. You can either integrate it with HTTP or you can use any other possible options. But for now, I am integrating with Lambda because I want my model to communicate with Lambda function. Okay. And then under Lambda function, just go and type the Lambda function name which you gave. Okay. So I gave the name animal counting update. So you just check out what name you gave and then give that particular name, the Lambda function which you created previously. If you just start typing, it will give you the option automatically. Okay. After you write it, just click on save. Click on save. Okay. Click on OK. It will give you a prompt to add permissions to Lambda. So it will get added. Now click on save. Once it gets saved, it will just take a while and it will get saved. Okay. So once it gets saved, we have to work with the Lambda function. Now, just see, there are arrow marks also there. Okay, so just understand. Whenever you give some value through the URL, which values you have to give in the URL, how it has to get converted, and how it will generate the response. All these things you will be configuring here. Okay, so first what will you do? You will have to generate a request. Yes or no? In a, whenever you are using a web page or something, like whenever you are doing some programming, what will you do generally? You will first give a request, right, to the web page, to whatever service or function you want to do. You will send a request. Once you send the request, you will receive a response for it. Yes or no? So first what we'll do is we'll tell how the request should be. So click on method request. Click on method request. If you click on method request, here you have several options. Okay, I am not bothered about how the header is or how the request body is and all. What am I bothered? As it is a get request, I am bothered how my value should be given in the URL. Getting my point? What am I bothered? I am bothered about how the value should be given in the URL. So just click on URL query string parameters. Click on URL query string parameters. Then click on add query string. Click on add query string. Now give the string name using which you want to, what is the value which you are going to pass in the URL. I'm going to pass the animal name in the URL, right? So I give animal there. Okay. Just type animal and then click on the tick box towards the end. Just click on that particular tick which is present towards the end. This value got added here. Okay. Now click on back. Just go up, scroll up once and click on that method execution. Now you are again back onto the API get page. Now, whenever you send a request, how is that request being accepted? Okay, how it has to be sent to further Lambda or whatever, that you have to configure. How did we send the event in case of Lambda functions? How did we send? How was the test case? In which format the test case was in Lambda? JSON format, right? So now here you have to change that. Where will you change that? You will change that in integration request. Click on integration request. Okay, just go down. Please don't change any of these things. Just go down. And at the end, you have some option called as mapping templates. Click on mapping templates. Scroll down. Now, if you see there, you have a small box kind of thing having content type. Okay. Click on add mapping types there. Below there is a small plus symbol, add mapping type, and write application/JSON there. Application/JSON. Got it? Because we want the information to pass in the form of JSON. Okay. Now it will give you a small pop-up saying you want to change the behavior. Yes, you want to. Yes, right? So you click on yes, secure this integration. Okay. So now this is done. If you just go down, just scroll down, now it is giving you a format. Okay, so there what you have to do, you have to give your template there. Just we can just give a curly brace, type curly brace, like the way you gave it in the case of what? Where did you give? Where did you give the test case? Where did you write the test case? You previously wrote the test case in the Lambda function, right? In a similar way, you have to write it here. So animal in double quotes, colon. What is the value you want to give here? What is the value you want to give here? Is it a manual value or is it something which you are entering in the URL? Entering in the URL, right? So put double quotes again. double quotes again, dollar, write a dollar, input, dollar, next input, dollar input, dot params, params, input parameters, dollar input params. Open the this parenthesis bracket in single quotes. Type animal. Okay, you got it? What we are trying to do here? Did you understand? Everybody, just give me a response whether you understood this or you want me to explain it again. Anybody who wants me to explain things again? Where are you asking, Harshit? Curly braces or parenthesis? Inside the curly braces, you will write double quotes animal colon double quotes dollar input dot params. In parenthesis bracket, you will write animal again. Then close curly brace. That's how the syntax is. Okay, I'll put the syntax in the chat also. I'm putting the syntax in the chat, don't worry. Make sure you check with the names, people. Your name should match with the names which you gave previously, okay? So, right. So, I've put on the chat box the code, okay? Now click on save. Save this particular template. Click on save. Once the template is saved, now go back again. Once the template is saved, go back again. Go back. And now click on test. Click on test. Here, towards your left hand, just before method request, you have test. Click on test. Now it will ask you to give the query string. So what was the string which we gave? Animal. So type animal equal to dog. Animal equal to dog. And click on test. Now let us see what we'll get. If everything is proper, if we configured everything properly, we should get a successful message. If we went wrong anywhere, it will give an error. Dog not in quotes. URL is never in quotes. Okay. So this is the test one. This means that it is in URL. Okay. We got the message to be successful. If you see the response body, what we got the output to be successful. Okay. So now if you just go to your DynamoDB, we can just open your DynamoDB. Everybody got it? People, all of you open your DynamoDB and check if the count got updated in your DynamoDB or not. Okay. Open the DynamoDB, open your table, check if the count got updated in your DynamoDB or not. Updated? You got the updated count? So now, Vikyant, now your table is like this, right? Now go and give cat in the URL. In the parameters, while testing, give the path. Okay, your session got expired. Close everything and open again, Vikyant. Now again, click on test. Yeah, open get, click on test, and then give the query string to be animal equal to cat. No, not in quotes. We can't, not in quotes. Directly cat. Cat, I think you gave in the table capital C, I think. How did you give in the table? Please give it like that. And click on test. Now go to DynamoDB, error message. Yeah, so that's the reason I was asking you to update the count from Lambda function before to be 0, because it is not able to fetch the count. Okay. Understanding what is happening here, it is giving key error because there is no count associated with cat. If you see in his table, the cat count was not there. It was not 0 before. If you give 0, it will fetch that 0 value and update the count. If it is having nothing, what will it fetch and how will it update? That's the reason it is giving an error for you. But if you have updated the count previously, then you will not get this problem. We can't you do one thing? Just open your DynamoDB and on a new page. Open DynamoDB on a new page, new tab. Don't close these tabs. Close these two tabs. We can't. Yeah. Now open the console. From the console, open it again. We will always try to open your things in new tabs so that it is easy later for access. Okay. Now go to tables. Go to tables. Now go to items. Here near cat, just click on that edit and make the count to be 0. Append, click on that plus symbol there. Append, what is that? A number, right? Click on number. Count, 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 small letters, and make the number to be 0. Click on save. Right. Now go back to your API. Now try to test it with cat. It will work. Got it? Now go to DynamoDB and check if the count got updated to 1. If it got updated to 1, then your value is successful. Refresh. then your functionality is success. There is one more simple step which is left, that is integrating this with your Python code. Just you have to put this URL. You have to generate a URL in the first place, right? Now you go to your API gateway, just scroll up, go back, go back. Now go to actions, go to actions. Now if you see in the bottom you have deploy API button. In the bottom you have deploy API button. Okay, so when you click on deploy API, it is asking you to give the deployment stage. Okay, as you don't have any stage. This is the first time you are deploying, right? So just select the stage to be new stage. Okay, give some name to your stage. I make it a sample or something, sample stage or test stage or something, and then click on deploy. Click on deploy. Now this will deploy your API and generate you an URL. Okay, it generated your URL, right? Now do one thing. We can copy the URL, copy the URL. Yeah. So now what you do is, one second, the URL wherever it is, open it. In the URL box, put a question mark. Okay. After that URL, on the URL box, put a question mark. Question mark. Type animal equal to dog. Okay. Now hit on enter. This is how your API works. You got a URL, you give a question mark and give the string, give the value which you want, and it will do the remaining tasks. Got it? Now go and check with your DB. Previously the values were 1, now it should get updated to 2. Both should get updated to 2. Refresh and check. Okay? Last part, okay. Go back to API gateway once Vikhyat. Yeah. So just after you are done, what you do is we can click on what APIs? Click on APIs. APIs. Open the API which you created. Right. Open the API which you created. Right. So now here, click on get. After you have tested with your API, after you are done testing with your API, click on actions. Click on actions. Click on actions and click on deploy API. Deploy API. It will ask you to give a deployment stage. Okay. If you just click on it, it will give you a drop down and there you will find the new stage. Okay. You will have new stage. Click on that new stage. Then it will ask you to give a stage name. Give the stage name and then click on deploy. Because you don't do it again. You don't do it again. Give the stage name and then click on deploy. Okay. That is how you have to deploy your API. Once you click on, once you deploy your thing, we can cancel this one. Cancel this one. Towards your left, you find stages under resources. Just click on the stages. Here, once you are done, you will be on this page where your URL will be visible. Okay. Copy this URL, paste it in a new tab in the URL box, place a question mark, and give animal equal to and cat or dog, whatever it is. Go and check in, you should get a successful message there. If you get the successful message, go back to your DynamoDB and check if you are getting the values updated there. Okay. Now manually you don't have to hit this, right? You don't want to hit this manually. You have to do it with your Python code. Yes or no? Whenever you give an image, it has to detect whether it is an animal. I mean, like you do it using OpenCV generally. But for now we are giving an image and we are doing, right? So for that, just open the Python code. I don't think you have the Python code, right? Do you have? Yeah. Okay. I'll share the screen. Is my screen visible to all of you? So I've already created a API people. So I'll show you that particular API. Okay. So same configurations I have done, and I've created an API previously so that I can show it to you if such cases happen. Okay. So I'll just open that particular API. I'll just open the code also, which we were using yesterday. So this code, I'll share it with you people on the Telegram channel. Okay, so you can use this code. So now you saw how the response is, right? Okay, one second, let me check this one. Okay, this will open. By then, you know how the response is getting printed. Did you all see? I showed you in the beginning, I hope. Right? So this is how you are getting custom labels. You're getting the name, right? So I don't want the output to be in that format. Yes or no? Let me check the chat. Yeah. So I don't want the response to be printed like this. Now I have to check with what? I have to know what is the name directly. I don't want this much big JSON code, right? So how do I extract the name, this cat, from this particular JSON code? Tell me quickly. Quickly. Anybody? Okay, you want to view the JSON first? Okay, this is the JSON which you are getting. This is the JSON code which you are getting as the output. How did you extract the name from this particular JSON code? No, it's not that. Okay, so let me because it's getting late. Okay, let me do it. So first thing, people, there are two cases. How many of you remember yesterday while we were doing, we got a case where that image did not belong to any of the class. What was the output then? This custom labels, this output, this list was empty, right? You got an empty list there, right? So what I'm trying to do is, if not length of response, okay, response of, what is this? Custom labels, custom labels. Okay, so if the length is not there, if the length is zero, okay, if the length is zero, let me edit in Notepad plus plus. I think it is open there. Yeah. Okay. So if this response, from the response, I'm getting the customer labels. If it is custom labels is not there, length is zero, then what I'm trying to do is print animal not identified. Okay, done. If not, if the animal is identified as dog or cat, then what I do else, what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to call this URL. One second. Okay, I'll just stop the screen share for a minute. Okay, so that gets loaded. I'll send you this code, don't worry. I'll give you this code. Okay. By the time it loads, I'll just write down the code. Okay. So the code is, if whenever it is not there, I want that URL. If without that URL, I can't write the code. Okay, so you now got to know how to fetch. I mean, like, I did not tell how to fetch also. Right. So here, what I write is, first I'll take the string. Okay. So what is the string which I am getting? How do I get the string? From response, from the custom label, from the custom labels. Okay. So inside the first custom label list, the 0th element, I want the name. Okay. So I'll just show you the command prompt also. How is it? So I was able to see the command prompt. Custom labels, in the 0th index, you have a dictionary which is having the name and the confidence. From the 0th index, from that particular dictionary, I am fetching the name. Okay. Now let me print this particular name. Sorry, particular string. Print str. Let us see if we are getting only the response or not. I will. Okay, let it be. Now I go to command prompt and I run this. Okay, let me do one thing. This, this is not getting loaded at all. This API gateway is not getting loaded. I'm not getting the URL there. So I know previously I've copied the URL. So let me just give you that URL directly. Will that be fine? So copied the URL. Right. So did you see this output here? First of all, this is the important thing. If you see, the recognition service has called the custom labels. From the label, we have successfully identified cat. Okay. I mean, like, we have successfully fetched the result only, the cat. After we are done with this, what we'll do is, CMD is not built. 1 second. Now is it visible? The command prompt. Right. So from this complete, dictionary, we have successfully fetched the name, the animal name, whatever is there. Okay, that is cat. Now, now what I do is I go back to my code. People, I don't have the URL ready. My API is not hitting. I mean, like, it is not getting opened at all. So I am just paste the URL which I have previously used, okay, while I was creating. What did I do? In the string, I have taken this particular value, this one I told you just now. After that, what I'm trying to do is, I have copied the URL, the entire URL. How am I writing the URL? I'm putting a question mark. I'm putting the animal name equal to, and I'm giving dog or cat something. So I put the entire URL in double quotes and I add the animal name which I'm fetching from the recognition service. Which I'm fetching from the recognition service. Got it? After that, what I'm doing, I'm sending a request. Get request to that particular URL. Request.get to that particular URL, and then I'm printing the response. Is that okay? Everybody got it? Right. The thing is, the string which I'm getting now, the cat and dog I've trained in lowercase. But if but if you see in the database, I've given uppercase, right? The title case. So you just have to change that. For now, what I'll do is I will randomly, this is a cat image. This is a small case. So what I'll do is, you just have to use a title case. So, instead of I writing all that, I'll simply make it as of this cat. Then what I'm doing, I'll make the str to be capital cat. Okay. So just because I'm using only cat, I'm giving only for cat name. Okay. Now I'll run this file and let me check if the database is getting updated. Okay, I'll close. So it will take a while. It will call the recognition service and it will give you the output. I have removed all the other print statements. Only the final response which we are getting, that only will be displayed. Okay. We'll see if my API is going to hit now because so this API is not getting hitted because of my internet problem. Only because of that it is not working. So code is missing in cat where I've given dear the cat is having the code. That's not a problem. It's problem with my API. The API is not being hit. Okay. So if you want, I'll show you in that in Chrome also. This API is not hitting because of my code. Okay. Sorry, my internet connection. There is the code which will work. Let me do one thing. I'll copy this code. I'll give it to you. You try. You don't require this line because I think you have trained it properly. Just check with the output. If it is capital, then you have to change. If not, you can use the same code. I've given the code. One of you please try copying this code and then trying to run with your own credentials and check with the credentials also, people. These would have changed by now. My credentials did not change, but the internet is very poor. The API is not hitting. This URL you have to give, the deployment URL which you generated, and this one. These credentials you have to change. This ARN you have to. This ARN will remain definitely same. These credentials will be changing from session to session. So please do change those things. Okay. So you give your ARN here, your project ARN which you generated, and this one. Let me stop sharing and try to create the. This is the whole. This is not the whole code. Okay. I copied the entire code. That is not accepting those many characters. Let me do one thing. I'll put it on the Telegram channel. But Telegram will also not open now, I think. Yeah, character limit is there. I'm putting it in the Telegram channel, don't worry. Let me see if that opens at least. Please check, people. I have sent the code on the Telegram channel. Please just check, download that code and try to work with it. I mean, like, try to hit your, change the credentials, the ARN, and the URL. These three things you change and run it, and let me know if you're getting it. By then, I am trying to create the new API if it works. Every hour you have to hit the API. I mean, like, every hour you have to call the what is it? The recognition service. Check with the faces which are present and hit the API. Okay, you can put a timer. Okay, so which will, after every 1 hour, after every 60 minutes, it will again run. So like that you can put. Okay, is that fine? Everybody got it? Please try, people. The proposed solution applications will capture our attendance without any manual input. Develop a smart device that can be integrated with a camera that will capture the images of class for every hour and send the images to the model. Yes, Ashish. So, see, I've told you how to work with recognition. Okay. I've told you how to update the database. Now, what you will do is you will build a small application, Flask application. Okay. A small UI. Okay. So, where it will turn on the camera and it will be looking for faces. Whenever that face is detected, that will go and, all this recognition will be called, the API will be hit, database will be updated. Like that, it should happen for every hour. To give the code of the entire project, it is not right. So you give a try. Wherever you are facing issue, please let me know. I'll try to take a session on Flask exclusively, so then you will understand how to build a UI, but that will not be now. Okay, so that will be towards the end, completely at the end. After I deal with all the services, then I will take up. I think around one or two more days, my internet connection issues will go on because of few problems near my place. So once this is stable, the next session I'll plan, because it is being very inconvenient for you and also for me with the internet. So I think I'll take a break of 2 days. I'll make sure my internet is completely stable, and then I'll take the next session. Okay, so that's the reason I said from next week the sessions will be continuous every day. Thank you very much for bearing my, like, bearing all the problems which I created. But yeah, I'm sorry. It was, I don't know. I changed my network also, but still it is happening the same. I'm sorry for that. We'll make sure in the next session this internet interruptions are not there at all. Okay. If anybody has done that, if anybody could run that particular model, you can please let me know. My event is not getting loaded. Vikhyat, I will require all your, URL you want me to hit. Okay, send me the URL once. Let me just try that. The fact is being it is not being called. I'm not able to hit with my internet. That's the problem. You are not able to run the file, Vikhyat. Are you facing any issue? Are you getting any error? If yes, just share me your screen. I will look into the error and I'll let you know what's the problem. Make sure you have copied the latest credentials in the first place. That's the mandatory thing. Okay, I could successfully generate a URL. Let me see. Okay, cool. That's okay. I'll have to change the credentials also once. Yes, people. So I've created a new API. So I'll just show you the code one now. All of you able to see my screen? After that, I've run this file. So it has started the recognition service, identified the name to be cat, and then it is returning me a response 200 code. Okay, so I have to just go and check into my database whether it is getting updated. So just let me go. So here, are you all able to see my screen? Cool. So I'll just show you my database. I don't have hope of it opening my database now. So let me give a try with the. So as I know the class to be cat, okay, I did not write any loops as such. Okay. We can just check your database once it gets updated. I don't think it will work out, but still, we can give it a try. Okay, just check your database, Vikhyat, if it has got updated the count for cat. So it is giving me a response code 200. That means it has successfully updated the database table. Okay. Vikyat, you just give a check in the database. If you can show it to us, we'll be very happy. Did you reload? Okay. It is integrated with your Lambda function only, so it should be able to update your database. Okay, let me just check in my database, no problem. Yeah, Harshit, if you got, just check your database also. You will have to see the update in your DynamoDB. If it gets updated, then it got updated, count updated. Okay, great. So even in my case, the count got updated, people. Okay, so if you, I'll just show you. I've created 00, right? So I've just hit once, so it got updated. I don't think it will stay for a long time, my internet. So please just check with the database. Okay, so it got updated. I will again see. I've done one good thing by commenting it. Okay, so now I'll try to run the file with my API. Let us see if it is getting updated or not. So this is cat again, so we should get the count to be 2. That is what we are expecting. So let me just check my DynamoDB. People don't think ma'am has given the string statically. I did not give the string statically because I have trained it with small c and it is capital C. You have to convert it into title case. That's the only reason why I gave it like that. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you are training and you are using the database names also in the correct way, proper way. Okay. One doubt, actually I had an image in database where I defined 2 labels for different persons and same image and trained with that image, and just now I passed that image in my Python code but it detected one face with face which I gave in DB. Okay. Okay, Harshit. You mean it only detected one face, not both the faces. That is what you mean to say. Are you asking about that? Okay. So see, the thing is here what you are trying to you are using the custom labels. Okay. So here, if you see that list should give you 2 confidence scores. It is giving you the confidence score, right? The confidence score, whichever is high, only that one it is giving you as the output. In the list, you might have 1 or 2 labels. You just give a check with the entire custom labels JSON code which you are getting. In that you might have, but as you are retrieving the first one, you are getting the first one. only in the database. Okay, so just check with that. So for that, what you will do is you will write a for loop, okay, which will iterate through entire dictionary, take each name, hit the URL for each name, and update the count. That is how you have to do. Did you get it? Yeah, Vikyat. So, generally they get stored in the CloudWatch. I'll tell you why is it not getting updated. I'll let you know. Okay, don't worry. Don't worry about it. Actually, it will get updated, Vikyat. There is no problem actually. Okay. So it might be because the internet is not properly stable or it is not able to hit only that these are the two reasons why it will not get updated. Okay. There is no other problem. Okay, I was just showing you while throughout the training process, the count was zero. Yes or no? When once I stopped the training process, I mean, like I couldn't do it in my system. You shared your screen. I did not change the database at all. So I hit it in the first time. It got updated. The second time when I tried, it is not able to reach. Okay, so it is updated here, but it is not showing it on the screen. Okay, so that's the only reason you are not able to get it. Might be. Don't worry. Just try it after the session once. If you're still not getting it, let me know. I'll help you out with it. Okay. Okay, people. So we shall end the session here. If you have any queries, please let me know through Slack channel. I'll help you out with it. Okay.